Hello and welcome. My name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for joining me in the first of this week's Stamp Set of the Week, Enduring Beauty, the first card. Now before I go on, I must say out an apology for anybody that tried to watch the video last Friday and Wednesday I believe, when there was no audio. My sincere apologies. I have absolutely no idea what went wrong there. I've had my in-house technician have a look and we cannot work out why the sound did not come through. So we have double checked, the sound is working today, so fingers crossed everybody will be able to hear me. Having said that, so we're back to this week's stamp set, and this is the card we're going to create. So let's bring in the stamp set now. As usual, I have stamped out the images. There is only one major image and two small images, and they're a little flower and an infill, and then the rest of it is all sentiments. So you've got embrace the beauty of you, you mean so much to so many, love endures all things, holding you close in my heart, and it's always been you. Now I have to say, I'm not sure, I could be wrong, but I'm not sure these sentiments would all scream out as sentiments that we would use here in Britain. However, this is what we would go for and how much we would love it. So the stamp set comes in almost 3 parts. Put that aside for a second. So we have the actual stamp set, which as I said was beautiful image, works wonders on its own. It also comes with, you can also get the dies that go with it. Now we will use the dies more Wednesday and Friday, and we also come with a masking technique that we can go through, and we'll use that again later on in the week. But what we are focusing today is on the stamp set. So let me bring in our supplies. I have got Granny Apple Green measuring 8 inches by 5 3/4. I have a 1/2 inch strip. Now this is quite long because what I want to do is I want to use the happy birthday from the Sweetly Scripted and then cut it down. So I know the height is 1/2 inch, but I don't know how long it's going to need. I've also got a piece of Whisper Basic White measuring 3.5 by 5 1/4. I have an envelope, which I'll show you that in a second, and I have a piece of Designer Series paper. Now this is current, this Designer Series paper. Myself and Jenny McCormack held a craft class on Saturday, and we used these papers in one of the cards that I was demonstrating and the girls had a go with, and this is a piece of paper or the piece of Designer Series paper I had left over, so I wanted to use it, and this is what we're going to do with it. Now if I grab my catalogue, which is hiding under my desk, and I flick through the catalogue, I can tell you exactly. Here we go. So it is on page 51, and it's this section down here of papers that we used on Saturday, and this is the paper here on this corner, top left hand corner, excuse me, that we're using today. But you've also got this one down here and this one here should you wish to follow suit. So number 9, they are called Country Lace 12 by 12 Designer Series paper, and you get 12 sheets. So that's 2 sheets of each design. Right, put that in there. Okay, and as I said, we've got an envelope, and with my card that I've created there, I've actually got a non-naked envelope with a little detail on sew, and I've also done it inside as well. So let's pop those away and we can start. So most of the work, as usual, is going on to this piece of Designer Series paper. So I have got the main image. I'm going to stamp it up in Memento Black. As you can see, this stamp has been well used, and so the black, sometimes I've used brown with it as well, has well and truly stained the stamp, but that does not stop the stamp from working. So let's pop that there, and I'm just going to put my stamp all the way over, press down, making sure that everything imprints onto the designer series paper, peel it off, and we've got the image like so. And we're going to colour it in using blend pens, and I have got Granny Apple Green Light and Dark, and I've also got Petunia Pop Light and Dark. So let me start with the dark one first, and I'm going to just colour in the stems of the flower like so, and then I will colour the main leaf in the light Granny Apple Green. So let's do this one here. When I've chosen the colours, I've chosen them really so that they're not too dark, but they don't show through too much of the designer series paper print that is behind what I'm colouring, but you just get the design on the outskirts. There we go. Just going to colour those ones in. So as I say, this is Granny Apple Green. On the previous card I used Old Olive, so any of those would really work. Again, with the dark petunia, I'm using the outside of the flowers. There we go. Rather than colouring in all of the colour, rather colouring in all of the flower in the same colour, I'm just going to use the shades. Now obviously you could use different colours, and if you're brilliant at colouring in and blending, then there's another way for you to do. But for me, I'm more of a try and keep within the lines, and make sure the colouring is reasonable. So let's do the light one. There we go. So you can see the two colours coming through. Now I'm going to go over the black. I've found that it just sort of makes the black pop really. There we go. Perfect. Just gives the back, as I say, a little bit more of a colour. Lovely. So as you can see, you can cover the designer series paper. Obviously you need lighter shades for this to work fully, because obviously the darker the paper, the harder it would be to colour it in and make it stand out. But I have, just to save time, actually completed that beforehand. So as you can see, that is finished. Now you can decide which way round you can have the design. I think I'm happier with it that side than the other way. Now before I mount that, there's one more thing I want to do. Now I have a box of, instead of trying to break into them, Stampin' Write markers, and I'm going to use the Early Espresso of the Stampin' Write marker. I don't use them that often, and that's why they're not always out on display, but for this purpose I'm going to flick the paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the lid off the larger side, so it's the thicker end, and then I'm going to rest the nib inside the lid and flick, and it gives you a speckled effect on the card, and you can put as much or as little speckle as you wish. Okay, I think you can see that. So that's another little technique. Yeah, you can just about. Just gives the paper a little bit more of a oomph. Right, now before we stick that down, I'm going to bring in my envelope, and I'm going to bring in my piece of basic white, and I'm just going to stamp both of those with the main stamp, but just a section of it rather than all of it. So I'm literally stamping all of it over because I'm going to do the top section onto here, and then I'm going to use the stamped off version on the envelope on the other side. There we go. So we've got the full force for the inside and the stamped off version for the envelope, and then they can be attached. Right, so let's bring in our Granny Apple Green. I'm going to score that with my scoring tool. I'll see those of you that have a scoring blade on your trimmer can do exactly the same rather than having to use what I've got here. And then I'm just going to burnish it with my bone folder, like so, and then the focal point can now be stuck down. I'm going to stick that down with, I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal actually. See the pattern coming through on the back. The blend pens are quite strong. Right, so let's do like that. Pop that down. There we go. And then I'm just going to put the inside layer in. And that will go in there. And then two more things we need to do. The sentiment. So I'm going to bring that in, and I'm using the Happy Birthday, as I say, from the Sweetly Scripted. I keep wanting to call it Softly Scripted, but it is Sweetly Scripted. Let's turn that over. There we are. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay it on top. Hoping, yeah, there we go, and then that will go across there like that. I want the Happy Birthday to be fairly in the middle, so I need to cut from there. So let's get my trimmer and trimmer. So let's go there, cut that bit off. And I know it's going to be 3 3/4 because that's the piece of paper I have cut previously. And then the Happy Birthday can go on like so. Now obviously you can stick it down, or for me I'm going to put it up on dimensionals. So let's take that and my pointy tool. One in each corner. Now the eagle-eyed, those of you that are eagle-eyed should I say, the picture that came on at the very beginning of the video did not have bling on the front. However, when the second screen came on, you will see that there was bling. And the reason for this is just after I'd set it up, I thought, you know what, I fancy a bit of bling on that. So there we go. That is the only reason. And I'm going to do the same on this one, and I'm using these little gems, and I'm going to use the pink ones, and I'm just going to put 3 on. Just remember, oh hello, just remember when you do these, always do it in odd numbers, not even. For some reason it seems to be more acceptable to the human eye when things are of odd numbers. There we go, rather than even. So that's the card I have just created, and there is the other one that was around earlier on. So thank you ever so much for joining me today. That's a bit bouncy. Let's see if I can burnish that a bit more. There we go. So as I say, I hope you like those. For those of you that are around, we are back again on Wednesday with our second version, so do come along if you can, or catch up. And we will go with the masking on that one, I believe. So something to look forward to. So whatever you do for the rest of the day, stay safe and happy crafting. Take care, everybody. Bye.